This is a review of simple and compound interest. I've already done videos on both simple interest and compound interest, so if you have any questions about those, make sure you go and look at those videos. The links will be in the description below. These are the formulas for simple and compound interest. The simple interest formula is I equals PRT. The compound interest formula is A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power. In these formulas, I stands for interest, A stands for amount, P stands for principal, which is the original amount, R stands for rate. When you see rate, make sure you convert the percent to a decimal. And then T stands for time in years. If it's not in years, then you have to convert it to years. You'll notice the big difference between these formulas, other than how they're laid out, is that this one starts with A and simple interest starts with I. So when we have simple interest, we are looking for I equals, or just the interest by itself. If we're going to find the amount, then we're going to have to add back the principal to the interest. Compound interest is the other way around. We have the amount, the total amount in the account, and to find interest, we have to subtract the principal. Question 1. Tyler puts $1,700 into a simple interest savings account. The account makes 4.5% simple interest, and he keeps the money in the account for 4 years. How much interest does he earn? So first off, we have simple interest here, so we're going to use the simple interest formula. In this question, we are looking for how much interest we earn, which is good because simple interest starts with I. So that means we're going to automatically find the interest if we just plug it into the formula. So I equals PRT is going to be the formula we use. We need to change the rate from a percent, which is 4.5%, to a decimal. Because it has that percent sign behind it, we need to make sure we convert it to a decimal, even though there's already a decimal in there. I know that's confusing, but just remember this percent sign means we need to change it. So we're going to move this decimal point 2 places over. So that's going to get us 0.045. You can also think of it as dividing by 100. 4.5 divided by 100 is going to get us this answer right here. Time is already in years, so we don't need to do anything with that. I can just plug it into my formula now. I equals the principal, which is 1,700, times the rate, which is 0.045, times the time, which is 4 years. And if I multiply all of this out, I'm going to get $306, which is the interest that he earns. Question 2. Charity opens up a savings account with $4,000 in it. The account makes 5% interest compounded annually. How much money is in the account after 6 years? So first off, I'm looking at the fact that it says compounded annually here. That means I'm going to use the compound interest formula A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power. I'm also noticing that the money in the account is what we're looking for, which we have A, which is the money in the account. So that's, once I find the formula, once I solve all this, I'm going to automatically have the answer. I don't have to do anything else. I also need to change my percent, my rate from a percent to a decimal. So my rate is 5%. I'm going to divide that by 100, or move the decimal point over from here, move it over to the left twice. And so my rate's now going to be in decimal form, 5/100ths, or 0.05. And the time is already 6 years, so I don't need to change the time at all. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my formula. A equals the principal, which is 4,000, times 1 plus the rate, 0.05, to the T power, which is 6. And once you put that in your calculator, you're going to get 5,360 and 38 cents. And that's all we need to do because it says the money in the account and I'm looking for that A. Question 3. Marco gets a loan for $15,000 to pay for a car. The account charges 5.6% simple interest and he has to make payments for 48 months. How much did he pay for the car in total? So first off, I notice that it says simple interest here, which means I'm going to use the simple interest formula, I equals PRT. I also notice that it's looking for how much does he have to pay for the car in total, which means that at the very end I'm going to have to do one more step past my formula because we're looking for the total amount, and simple interest just gives us the interest. That's what the I stands for, is interest. So I'm going to have to do something at the very end. I'm keeping that in mind as I work through the problem. Now I need to change my rate from a percent to a decimal, 5.6%. I'm going to move the decimal point over 2 places or divide by 100. And I'm going to be left with 0.056 as my decimal. I also noticed that the time is in 48 months. It has to be in years, so I'm going to do 48 divided by 12, because that's how many months are in a year. 48 divided by 12 is going to get us 4 years. So now I'm all set to go to put this in my formula. I equals the principal, which is 15,000, times the rate, which is 0.056, times the time, which is 4. Once you multiply all that out, the interest earned is going to be $3,360. But we're looking for the total amount, so I'm going to take that principal and I'm going to add it back to the interest. So I'm going to do the principal, which is 15,000, plus the interest right here, 3,360. And once I add those together, I'm going to get my final amount in the account, 18,360. Question 4. Rachel put $6,000 into an account that has 7% interest compounded annually. She does not make any additional deposits or withdrawals. How much interest will she have earned after 5 years? So first off, I notice that it says compounded annually right here. So I'm going to use the compound interest formula. A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power. I also notice that we're just looking for interest here. And like I've said before, the compound interest formula gives us the total amount in the account after 5 years, not the interest. So we're going to have to do an extra step at the end. So keep that in mind as we work through it. I need to change my rate. So my rate is 7%. And I can divide by 100 or move that decimal point over twice, which is going to get me 0.07 as my decimal. And it's already in 5 years, so I don't need to change that from months to years or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this into my formula. A equals 6,000 times 1 plus my rate, which I found to be 0.07, to the T power, which is 5 years. And then once I solve for that, it's going to get $8,415.31. But like I said, I'm looking for interest. This includes the principal in it. So what I need to do is subtract it, the principal from the amount, the total amount in the account. So I take this number and then I take the principal and subtract, and then my interest that I have earned in the account, or that Rachel earned in the account, is $2,415.31. This has been a review of simple and compound interest. If you have more questions, make sure you check out the videos in the description. Those are going to have more examples of each type of question that you see here.